Hey y'all, what is up? What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a few tips that are going to help you with a better foundation application. Let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that you should do, exfoliating your skin. I have oily skin and you really want to make sure no matter what your skin type is, you are using something that is geared toward your specific skin type. I like to use the St. Ives oatmeal scrub because that one is really finely milled. It's super gentle. You don't have to worry about it like breaking your skin or anything, but I like that one. Exfoliating your skin is good just simply because it's going to help lift up any dry skin, and it's going to give you that nice glow look. It's like fresh baby skin. I love it. The second thing that you can do here is make sure you are getting rid of peach fuzz. I'll never forget over the spring, I was doing a bridal trial. I was already doomed because the first thing she said is, I do wear makeup. I have learned the hard way. If I am working with a bride and she says that she does not wear makeup, she does not need to hire me because no matter what I do, she's not gonna like it. Long story short, this girl had so much peach fuzz on her face, and when I was putting the foundation on, I was like, this does not look good. In my mind, I was like, this ain't gonna look good. She was just like, I don't think I like the makeup. I'm like, girl, it's not the makeup, it's because you need to shave your face. All right, so I typically have like my sideburns here or just a little bit of hair on my cheeks. I just take one of the I just take one of the brow razors and I just go over my face lightly with it, and it will just get away any peach fuzz. However, something that I do struggle with, I'm a hairy beast, my chin hair. I don't play that. I can't stand it. So I make sure that I tweeze, wax it, you know, hit it with my little razor, whatever I need to do. That is what I use. I don't use like a legit like 3-blade razor on my face. Like I said, I just take one of the, you know, like the little eyebrow shavers or like the little bikini shavers. I just take one of those and graze it over my face. That's going to help your foundation just go on so nice, so smooth, like it's going to be bomb. Next tip here, make sure you're moisturizing. No matter what your skin type is, you need to moisturize. Just make sure if you're oily skin, you're using something that's not super greasy on your face because you're not gonna like it. It's gonna be horrible. But there are so many moisturizers out there that are geared towards oily, dry skin. Pick one, use it. Next up with the skincare thing here, primers. I know primers are like a little bit hit and miss. I've seen so many people say, oh, you need a primer, oh, you don't. I tested it out myself. Check out the video here. Do I need a primer? I know for me in the summertime, my skin looks the same with a primer or without, doesn't matter. In the summertime, I don't really wear that much look at foundation, but if I do have to for some reason, I'm definitely going towards a mattifying foundation. And like I said, with a primer on or without it, my face is still going to look the same, so I just skip the step with a primer over the summertime because it doesn't do anything. It's the same. Now here's where it gets tricky. I am oily. However, when the weather starts to shift a little bit, it gets a little bit cooler, especially in the winter time, I switch off from my matte foundations and I go to the Too Faced Born This Way. I like that foundation. I actually have that on right now. That's what I'm using in this video. I like that foundation just simply because it looks so pretty on the skin. It's not too much. It doesn't give me cake face. My face doesn't like eat it all up. It just works really well for me. Since this is not a mattifying foundation, I have found foundations that are more of a natural finish, that have a little bit more of a glow to them. If you are oily skin, they don't stick to your face very well, so you will kind of see them shift and move. So I use a mattifying primer up under any foundation that is not matte. It just helps it stick and it'll last much longer on my skin. Next up on my list, what kind of coverage do you want? Do you want full? Do you want light? Do you want medium? That is going to depend on the foundation that you buy. Be mindful and already know when you are on your foundation hunt, you know what type of coverage you want, because it's going to vary for everybody. If you have hyperpigmentation, dark spots, rosacea, you might want a little bit more coverage, and there's nothing wrong with that. And just because something is full coverage doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be like, pow, beat for the cheap seats, cake face. That's not true. A lot of that is all in how you apply it, which is going to take me to the next thing. What do you use? Should you use a sponge? Should you use a brush? For me, I like more of a medium coverage, so I prefer to use a damp sponge. Using the damp sponge is going to really help soak up any excess product on your face, so that way you don't get cake face. That way, you know, you don't have like 1,000 layers on your face. It's just going to help blend it out and give you a nice natural look. If you need more full coverage, me personally, I'm not into makeup brushes. I feel like they're just very streaky, so if I do use one, I go with a stippling brush. I have a stippling brush here. So a stippling brush is just going to give you an airbrush look here, and you just pat it on your skin. It might take you a little bit longer, but again, it's all preference. Use whatever you're most comfortable with. Next up, I think another reason why people use too much foundation is because they're trying to cover something, and if your foundation isn't covering it, then you might need to color correct. Color correcting is going to depend on your skin tone. There are so many. There's purple, there's yellow, there's pink, there's peach, there's orange. It's really just going to be specific for what it is that you're trying to cover in your skin tone. And the last tip for your foundation application, powder. Do you need powder? All right, if you are dry and we are in a cool climate, do not put powder on your face, just simply because it is going to cake up and you are going to look dead. Something that I do, my rule of thumb, I always set up under my eyes with the pressed powder. If you are going to go in with the powder, use a light pressed powder. Like, don't set your face, especially if you already have foundation on, with the MAC Studio Finish pressed powder, just simply because that is a full coverage pressed powder, so you might end up getting a little bit on the cakey side, so just be careful with that. But just use like a lightweight, you could do like a translucent pressed powder. If you're like my skin tone or deeper, you could use a yellow pressed powder. I like to use mineralized skin finish, and I'll go ahead and press that up on under my eyes, just simply because it doesn't dry my eyeballs out, my under eye area. There's nothing more than I hate than to see just like the crackiness on someone's face because they over powdered. Now, I do that up under my eyes, but for the perimeter of my face, this isn't going to work for you if you're dry. If you're oily, I like to take a damp beauty sponge and I'll just go ahead and dip it in my translucent powder, and I'll blow off the excess. If you're working on a client, don't blow on your brushes ever, because that's just not sanitary. But I'll just go ahead and take the excess off, and then I'll just go ahead and set the rest of my face. Pushing that powder into my face this way with a damp sponge is going to give you this nice, flawless airbrush look. If I'm just in a rush, I'm not trying to be like super extra, I'll just go in with the fluffy brush. If you are dry and you feel like you have to set with powder, I would recommend using a pressed over a loose powder, because a loose powder is really made for like stage work, or if you're oily, because it's going to really soak up a lot of oil. So just be careful. So I would just lightly put your brush in there and only set where you feel like you get oily. Alright guys, so I hope this video is helpful for you. A few foundation application tips to help you get a nice stunning finish with your foundation. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop down below, let me know what you like to do, any tips that you have for your foundation. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.